Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's August 7th, 2016. The NFL Hall of Fame game, the kickoff event for the season, is supposed to be happening right now, but it was canceled supposedly due to field conditions. Interestingly enough, in the time that this event has taken place since 1962, it's only the second time it has ever been canceled, and the last time it was canceled was also on August 7th. August 7th, 2011. It was supposed to be Bears and Rams that year. Also got canceled. There's only been one other time in the history that it fell on August 7th, and that game was played between the Minnesota Vikings and the Indianapolis Colts, who this year we have been speculating on this channel might very well be the Super Bowl based on the ongoing research that we're doing. What I want to do in this video is go back to last year's Hall of Fame game and look at the death of Frank Gifford, who died after it. Frank Gifford played in the first ever Hall of Fame game on August 11th, 1962. I also want to look at recent deaths within the Indianapolis Colts and also the New York Giants. Earlier this year, I thought that the Super Bowl would be Colts and Giants with an NFC championship between the Giants and Vikings. I now think the Vikings might actually be the team to face the Colts in the Super Bowl, and perhaps today's cancellation is another clue at that. So we're going to cover a lot of information. This is going to be a long video. Another thing I want to point out, today's game that was supposed to happen, it was going to be between the Colts and the Packers. Last year, before Thursday Night Football, Colts and Houston Texans, Lindy Infante died, who was the former NFL head coach of the Colts and the Packers. He died before the Colts played the Texans on Thursday Night Football. The Colts would win. This year's Super Bowl will be hosted by the Houston Texans, and I fully expect the Colts to be playing in that stadium. You can go back and watch my work on Lindy Infante, that death. We'll revisit a little bit of it in this video. So, today's date, August 7th, 2016, it is a date with 51 numerology. Conspiracy equals 51. Houston Texans equals 51. The Houston Texans will be hosting Super Bowl 51 at the end of this season. Hall of Fame game in Gematria, which is, if you're new here, Gematria is the practice of coding numbers into words, very important to Freemasonry and Zionism at upper levels, the levels who script sports, rig the NFL, control media. Masonry, Zionism, and Hall of Fame game all sum to 105. And the only numbers in that sequence are 1 and 5. 0 is not a real number. 1 and 5, date numerology of 51. Call it a coincidence. Also, if you're new here, please recognize that my work and what I'm doing is very well established. I have proven a lot. I have shown beyond a shadow of a doubt how pro sports are scripted. I've predicted outcomes correctly well in advance in all sports, even calling games to the score. So if you're new here and you think this is some, crazy nonsense, it might seem that way, but sadly it's also the truth. So, it's August 7th. The game's canceled today. The only other time it's canceled right here, August 7th, 2011, 5 years ago. Bears versus Rams. Last year, Frank Gifford died right after the Hall of Fame game. The first ever Hall of Fame game was played August 11th, 1962. The Giants tied the St. Louis Cardinals 21-21, a sum of 42 points. The game was NYC versus the state of Missouri. NYC equals 42, Missouri 42, Freemason 42. The Giants won Super Bowl 42, not by coincidence. Frank Gifford's birth name is Francis Newton Gifford, which in Gematria sums to 118, just like death. Look at the date of the game, August 11th, 11/8. Robin Williams recently died on that date by the numbers. Earlier this year, I predicted the death of Prince based on these numbers. If you're new to my channel, I show how many celebrities are ritually sacrificed by the numbers. 118 is one of these major numbers that a lot of people die by. So Frank Gifford dies after the Hall of Fame game last year, played in the first one. Things make more sense the more information we have. So you can look at all these dates. August 7th, the first August 7th that comes up is 1982. This is the only August 7th Hall of Fame game that ever got played because the other two have been canceled. You can just scroll down through this so you can see the rest. You will notice there are no August 7ths until we get to 2011, and then again today. Both cancellations. But anyhow, in 1982, Colts, Vikings. The score was 14-30. The Vikings won. The sum of 44 points stands out to me because this year's Super Bowl, Super Bowl 51, is on a date with 44 numerology. Adrian Peterson's birthday is exactly 44 days after the Super Bowl. He has Houston roots. 44, always a special number in the world of pro sports championships. Go back and watch my work, Pro Sports Championships, see how much I'm talking about 44. If the Vikings win the Super Bowl, if this happens, they'll be 1-4 in Super Bowls. This will be their 5th Super Bowl. They'll be 1-4, something like 14. When you write out 14 as a word in gematria, it sums to 41, just like Super Bowl sums to 41. 14 is also the reflection of 41. That happened in 1982. I bring up that the gematria of Armageddon is 82 only because the movie Oblivion, which is about life after Armageddon, it talks about how the final Super Bowl is in 2017. And Oblivion in gematria also sums to 44. The Super Bowl in 2017, which is hinted at being the last, on a date with 44 numerology. In that movie, Tom Cruise is standing in the stadium with a New York Yankees hat, which was part of the reason I originally thought the New York Giants would be the team. They still could, but there's a major narrative for the Vikings, which I've been covering in recent weeks. Also interesting, this is the former coach of the Packers and Colts. He died again last year before Thursday Night Football, Colts versus Texans. Died October 8th, 2015, a date with 33 numerology. A year prior to the day Thursday Night Football had also been Colts and Texans. That game ended up the Colts winning with 33 points, going for a 2-point conversion needlessly and missing it at the end to get 33. Special number to Freemasonry, Zionism. I was hoping the game would be played today and hoping there would be some sort of tribute to Lindy Infante. That's what I was expecting before they canceled it. His death came 304 days before the game, 9 months and 30 days, kind of like 93. Remember, Saturn equals 93, the keeper of time. Indianapolis Colts equals 93. Minnesota Vikings equals 93. They play each other this year, those two teams, December 18th, a date that breaks down to 9 and 3 in numerology. Possibly coincidences, possibly not. Till the anniversary of the death of Lindy Infante is 62 days. That's interesting because the first Hall of Fame game was played in the year 62. Mason equals 62. Another significant number to the gang. The reasoning for the cancellation today is field conditions, which has gematria of 77, like Green Bay. There's rumors that Aaron Rodgers wasn't going to play, didn't want to play. The other thing I think of with regards to 77 is that's the last year the Vikings were in a Super Bowl, the end of the 76 season, beginning of 77. Possibly a nod to the Vikings. The Packers play in their division. The NFL season begins 5 weeks from today. So now let's look at the death reported before the game. Winston Guy Jr., younger player for the Colts. He lost his mother by the numbers today. Check this out. When I heard about this, I wanted to look at Winston Guy right away, see if anything popped out. What stood out right away was his birthday and his first name, Winston. Winston equals 33. April 23rd is the 113th day of the year. 113, 33. Signatures of the Freemasons. He's also currently 26 years old. Very special number. A number connected to the shape of the football. See my earliest work on the Vesica Pisces, why the football is the shape that it is. All comes back to the number 26. So anyhow, from his birthday until the date of his mother's death, today before the Hall of Fame game, which he was supposed to play in, is 106 days. 106 is the number of prophecy. Very special number to the Zionists who run the NFL, who run the world of sports, who rig sports by the numbers. We're going to talk about Tony Dungy and the loss of his son, the ritual sacrifice of his son to win Super Bowl 41, death of Prince, and more. The death of Zerlon Tipton, the Colts running back who just recently passed, supposedly by accident after shooting himself, the only Colt to score in the Deflategate game. Anyhow, 106 days from his 26th birthday into the death of his mother. He's born on the 113th day of the year. Mainstream equals 113, dishonest 113, Scottish 113, as in Scottish Rite Freemasonry. He's born on a date with a life lesson number of 46. Sacrifice equals 46. Here, it appears he had to give up the death of his mother. I'm telling you, these people who play in these leagues, think about what they are. They're young men who are willing to play in these rigged sports for big salaries, selling out their fans. Keyword sellout. How far will these people sell others out? Will they give up their brother, their cousin, their mother, their father, their grandfather? From what I am exposing, all of these people dying by the numbers, Michael Jordan, Chris Paul, a million other celebrities that I've covered, it seems the answer is yes. These same people dying again and again by the same numbers. This death also comes on a date with 51 numerology, of course, as we covered. Again, it's the year of Super Bowl 51. The Colts seem destined for it. The big way, Houston equals 112. Horseshoe equals 112. The symbol of the Colts, Andrew Luck equals 112. So we just talked about 106. I again want to revisit the death of Tony Dungy's son. Tony Dungy became the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl. Not quarterback, head coach. Prior to that, he lost his son, James Dungy, by the numbers. James Dungy died at the time of the winter solstice, December 22nd, 2005, a date with 59 numerology. Kill equals 59 in Jewish gematria, plus it's a number stamped all over black people throughout history. The date his son died was a date with a life lesson number of 41. Tony Dungy would end up winning Super Bowl 41, plus Super Bowl in gematria sums to 41. Prince performed at that Super Bowl. Prince would die on a date with 41 numerology. That was also a date with 14 numerology. Dead equals 14 as well. Date with 39 numerology. Indianapolis Colts equals 93, the reflection. Tony Dungy would become the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl on February 4th, a date written 4/2. 42 and 59 are the numbers stamped all over black people. His son dead on a date with 59 numerology. He wins the Super Bowl on a date with 42 connections. The most hateful word for black people, 42. February, the only month that sums to 42, Black History Month. 5 and 9, the only single-digit numbers when you write out that sum to 42. From the date his son died until the date he won Super Bowl 41 was 409 days. Revelation equals 49 the small way. The date he won it was a date with 33 numerology, Super Bowl 41, number of sacrifice, number of Freemasonry. Tony Dungy himself is born October 6th, 10/6, a lot like 106 for prophecy. LeBron James' son is born on October 6th. I showed how LeBron James won the NBA Finals by the numbers of prophecy. I predicted he would long in advance. Game 7 was all about 106 this year over the Warriors, who are playing in their 106th game of the season. From Tony Dungy's birthday, October 6th, to the day he won the Super Bowl was 121 days. Revelation, the big way, 121. The small way, 49. Prophecy, 106. Revelation, the book of prophecy. So another example of death in 106 with the Colts from recent weeks. Zerlon Tipton just died at age 26, that special number. He didn't lose his mother, he lost himself. Supposedly he died in Michigan. Michigan equals 46 like sacrifice. Zerlon in simple English gematria sums to 106 like prophecy. This is the only player to have scored in the Deflategate game where the Colts lost 45-7, a sum of 52 points. Prophecy, the small way, is 52. New England equals 45. They won 45-7. From the date Zerlon Tipton died until the upcoming Super Bowl is 223 days. Masonic 223, the Synagogue of Satan 223, and Revelation, the book of prophecy, it says the false Jews, known as the Synagogue of Satan, will rule in the end times. Zerlon Tipton also died 63 days after his birthday. If you add every number up to 63, it sums to 2016. When he died, it was a date with 70 numerology as well. Giants equals 70 in gematria. Frank Gifford equals 70. Gary Jeter, the former Giant who wore 70, died this offseason. This is why I get tripped up. You know, I've had my eye on these teams, the Colts, the Vikings, the Giants for a while. There's some sort of triangulation going between all these teams. And that's why those of you who bet and try to win money, I'm saying cover your bets by betting on these multiple possibilities. It's very likely one of them is going to hit. The Colts seem like the safest bet for the Super Bowl, but I'm not sure that they'll win it if they make it. So I have another video on this man's death. You can go back and watch it. There's still a lot to cover. One point, though, before we move on from this. The date of the Deflategate game was January 18th, 2015. 118, that number connecting to death. He was the only player to score. Zerlon Tipton, now dead, supposedly accidentally killed himself. Notice Andrew Luck had 33 attempts on that game. Telling you, these games are so much more scripted than you know. 83 rushing yards, football equals 83. The games are so scripted. The stats for Tipton. Also, this year in the draft, I noticed this. I noticed the swapping of the 57th overall pick. 57th overall pick was traded between the Packers and Colts. 57, that championship number. When you write out 57, I think I had it on this last slide right here. Here it is. When you write out 57, it sums to 131. When you write out Super Bowl, 131. Championship, 131. World Series equals 57. He wore the number 37. 37 also has that gematria of 57. Possible clue about the Super Bowl, him dying 223 days before it. Packers and Colts swapping the 57th overall pick. Also, today, if you go to ESPN NFL front page, I bet this story is still up. It's been up all day. Interesting that on the day of the Hall of Fame game, they have a New York Giants cover story. Last year, Frank Gifford died on the day of the Hall of Fame game again. It's front and center with Eli Apple, their draft pick in the draft. I predicted more than a month before the draft that this is who they'd pick because of the mocking. Think about it. Eli Apple drafted by the New York Giants. And the Big Apple, the head quarterback, Eli Manning, Eli Apple. What I notice is that from today until the Super Bowl is 26 weeks, and the name Eli equals 26. The name of this guy right here, Mr. Apple. Also the name of the quarterback, Eli Manning equals 98. The NFL season begins 9/8, September 8th, the Virgin Mary's birthday. Today's date also has the 51 numerology. It's Super Bowl 51. The new head coach of the Giants is McAdoo. McAdoo equals 51. He was hired on a date with 51 numerology. In conspiracy 51, Houston Texans equals 51. These are all early reasons I was thinking Giants and Colts. Also, with the game getting canceled today, I'm reminded about this story. On May 7th, supposedly the Tesla automobile, the automatic computerized car, had a accidental crash, fatal crash on May 7th. May 7th, 5/7. (5/7), a lot like the number connected to Super Bowl. This news story came out July 1st, though, a date with 44 numerology, also like the numerology on the upcoming Super Bowl. They said that this man who died on May 7th was named Joshua Brown, which is the name of the kicker for the Giants. Tesla equals 57. This is a test for the Tesla cars. Kicker equals 57. They said that the man's name was Joshua Brown again, which is the name of the kicker for the Giants. Joshua Brown in gematria also sums to 47, like Ohio, where the Hall of Fame game is. The first Super Bowl was in the 47th year of the NFL. His death, this reported death, I just added this in today, from May 7th to today's canceled game in Canton, Ohio, where this person was supposedly from, this Joshua Brown, if you read the articles from Canton, Ohio, that was 13 weeks and 1 day. Interesting, you know? Interesting. If you do a total span of days, it's also a total span of 93 days. Saturn equals 93, Saturn the keeper of time. Canton, Ohio has that gematria of 51 as well, like today's numerology. With regards to the Giants and suspicious deaths, remember just before the Super Bowl 2 years ago, Ann Mara, the part owner of the Giants, died at age 85. National Football League equals 85. Last year, on September 8th, 2015, Tyler Sash, a former New York Giant, dropped dead by the numbers. Notice he wore the number 39. New York equals 39. NY equals 39. Empire equals 39. New York State of Establishment, July 26, 1788, has 39 numerology. The United Nations in New York is 39 floors tall. When I saw his death was on the 1-year anniversary of this coming season, I thought that that might mean something favorable for the Giants' season this year. Frank Gifford died on August 9th, 8/9. This man died a month later, September 8th, 9/8. Again, Eli Manning equals 98. Giants lost their longtime trainer at age 98 this offseason. Here's the New York gematria for 39, like this Tyler Sash number. His initials TS, T's the 20th letter, S the 19th. His initials are 39. He died in Oskaloosa, having gematria of 27, like his age of death, popular age for tragic deaths of young men, 27 club. Died on, or was born on the 27th of May. Other things I've seen interesting. We're going to talk about more deaths. This slide's coming up a little bit early. You might recall that earlier this year, there was supposedly a shooting backstage at a T.I. concert in Brooklyn. Brooklyn, New York equals 223, like Masonic. What I noticed in this reporting was, in all the things shown, there were only 2 sports teams shown in the coverage of this shooting. They showed men in clothes, and 2 of the men that they showed in this reporting had on Colts and Giants gear, which I thought was really suspicious. A lot of times these shootings are fictional. You have to understand that these entertainers who work for the Masons, for the Zionists, they help create this propaganda, selling out the people. Show you this real quick. They said the shooter was 33 years old. Of course, their number of propaganda, false flag equals 33. Happened in the Bedford Stuyvesant neighborhood, having the gematria of Freemasonry. Look at this, though. In the pictures from the shooting, you get this guy in the Colts hat here. You get the nice Masonic checkerboard floor. And then they got this photo here of the dude in the Giants gear, which isn't that suspicious since it's New York City. But you know, the shot of the Colts hat, I just chopped up this article and put all the pictures in here from it, and I thought it was real interesting that they got the Colts and Giants in here. I'd already been looking for months at a Colts-Giants Super Bowl and predictive programming for it, and then they had this story. But then again, they've been dropping all these clues for the Vikings too. It almost makes me wonder if they keep both narratives open for the sake of betting purposes. A lot of times it seems that there's multiple narratives. So here's the lifetime record between the Giants and Colts. They've played each other 18 times. The Colts have won 11. The Giants have won 7. If they went to the Super Bowl and played each other, it would become 11-8 all time if the Giants won 1-8, like Frank Gifford, the first Hall of Fame game. From the date that they last played, the Giants and Colts, until the date of Super Bowl 51 is also exactly 118 weeks. These are things I was writing about earlier this year, Wrote that March 22nd. The date they played also 113, that very special number. Talked about that in regards to the death of the mother of Winston Guy Jr. today. Here's their 2 championships in history. The Giants and Colts have faced each other twice in championships. The second time the score was 31-16, a sum of 47 points. This upcoming Super Bowl will be the 47th Super Bowl of the modern era. Super Bowl 47 was between the 49ers and the Baltimore Ravens. The Colts are originally from Baltimore. San Francisco and New York have the Giants connections. That's also kind of what I was thinking. I was thinking, maybe there's a tribute there with Super Bowl 47 and the 47th Super Bowl of the modern era. You might remember there was a 33-minute blackout at Super Bowl 47 with the Giants, or not the Giants, the 49ers and the Ravens. It's that lifetime record. It could become 11-8 should they meet in the Super Bowl. Andrew Luck, he got a guaranteed $87 million in his contract. He was supposed to play today, but the game got canceled on August 7th. Buddy Ryan died at age 85 around that same time. Again, National Football League equals 85. Miss Mara died at 85. Mara, one of those 33 names. In this article about Luck's contract, they talked about how he became the highest paid player, overpassing Eli Manning. If this does end up being your Super Bowl, remember this. The last time Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl, Eli won the year after. If it happened twice, maybe that would be too obvious to the average NFL fan. But then again, maybe not. So this offseason, longtime Giants trainer John Johnson dies at age 98. Look at this. The name John Johnson sums to 52. This year, the Super Bowl will be on February 5th, a date written 5/2. Prophecy equals 52. He died at age 98. The season begins September 8th. Prophet equals 98. Eli Manning equals 98. This man's date of birth, March 31st, 1917. Date with 70 numerology. Giants equals 72. Life lesson number of 52. John Johnson equals 52. 25, the Giants established in 1925. And also 51, Giant, the singular equals 51. Could the Giants be in Super Bowl 51 with Coach McAdoo, who was hired on a date with 51 numerology? Maybe. The date he died, this man, was February 28th, 2016, 3 weeks after the conclusion of Super Bowl 50. 228 is the 59th day of the year. Kill equals 59. Also, death equals 228. United States of America in simple English gematria equals 228. This was a date with 66 numerology. NFL in Jewish gematria equals 66. The first Super Bowl was at the end of the 66th season. New York is the 11th state. If you add every number up to 11, it sums to 66. He died on a date with a life lesson number of 39. New York again, the 39 connections. Tyler Sash, as we just talked about. Also a date with 46 numerology. NYG for New York Giants equals 46. They won Super Bowl 46. Eli Manning's full name in gematria also sums to 106 like prophecy. Eli Manning, what he goes by, 98. Here's just a reminder about Peyton Manning winning his first Super Bowl with the Colts over the Bears, and then the next year, the Giants won over the Patriots. And remember, Peyton Manning won Super Bowl 41, first Super Bowl win over Chicago. Chicago equals 46. Last year was the 46th Super Bowl of the modern era. Not a coincidence. There was a whole lot of 46 coded on the game. Even the stadium it was played at, Levi's Stadium, equals 46. After the game, the president congratulated Broncos, saying they reminded him of the 85 Bears. National Football League equals 85. The birthplace of the NFL is Chicago. Ron Rivera played on that Bears team who coached the Panthers, plus a whole lot more. Peyton Manning defeated Rex Grossman, who can only throw wounded ducks. When Peyton Manning won the Super Bowl last year, he was throwing wounded ducks, way past washed up. So obvious how rigged it is. Last year I called the Super Bowl, Broncos over Panthers, way before the playoffs even started. I said Von Miller would be the MVP and there'd be a Black Panthers tribute, all from understanding this numbers code. Here's the 98-year-old trainer who supposedly died by the numbers. He died 33 days before what would have been his 99th birthday. 33 days, 98. Also around that time was the reported death of Gary Jeter, former New York Giant, dead at age 61. Gary Jeter equals 46. He died 46 days from his birthday. The name Jeter has gematria 58, like Freemasonry. The greatest game ever played was in 58. Colts and Giants, the next year, 59 was the same championship. In 2017, it'll be 58 years later. The date Gary Jeter died was a date with 49 numerology, the number of revelation connecting to prophecy. It was also a date with 29 numerology connecting to football. From his birthday to his death, 46 days, NYG 46, Gary Jeter 46. He wore the number 70, Giants equals 70, Frank Gifford equals 70. He played at Southern Cal 46 as well. Got a picture of him tackling a 49er there in the article, tribute to his death. Here's Eli Apple after being drafted. He was born on August 9th, the date Frank Gifford died. Connected to the start of the season on September 8th. The date of his birth is also a date with 131 numerology, again connecting to championship, Super Bowl 57. He ended up being the 10th pick of the Giants this year. Eli Apple was the 10th pick. I was talking about this before it happened because 10 when written out has gematria of 39 like New York. See how scripted it all is? Eli Apple to the Giants with the 39th pick. Earlier this year, there was supposedly that story of 10 sailors being kidnapped by Iran and then returned to the United States. Right now they're saying maybe there was a bribe or a ransom. The reason it was 10 is because 10 equals 39, and it was tribute to Jimmy Carter and the hoax standoff, the hostage crisis with Iran that lasted 444 days, ended on Ronald Reagan's first day of being president. Jimmy Carter was the 39th president. 10 equals 39. Here's those Super Bowls. Greatest game ever played equals 99. That trainer died 33 days before turning 99. NFL championship game 99. Again, that last one between the Giants and Colts, sum of 47. This will be the 47th Super Bowl of the modern era, 58 years later. The date of those games were also dates with 98 numerology. And again, the season starts this year, 9-8, connects to Eli Manning, Prophet, the death of the trainer who was with the Giants back then. That man worked for the Giants all that time. And also, just in case you missed this, the day Prince died, I showed how I had predicted his death in February, and I showed how his death might be a foreshadowing for the upcoming Super Bowl. because he died on the 112th day of the year, a date with 41 numerology. Super Bowl equals 41. This year, the Super Bowl's in Houston. Houston equals 112. Again, Prince performed in Super Bowl 41 that the Colts won. Jim Irsay, the owner of the Colts, would end up buying Prince's guitar on the anniversary of the release date of Purple Rain. Purple Rain was released 32 years earlier. NFL equals 32. America equals 32. 32 teams in the NFL on the 32-year anniversary of Purple Rain. Jim Irsay buys Prince's guitar, a date with 67 numerology. Blood sacrifice equals 67. Freemasonry 67. Prince died in a span of 67 days from Vanity. The day Vanity died, I predicted Prince's death, and I talked specifically about the number 67. Prince had a June 7th birthday. Here's the date Prince died, 41 numerology. Jim Irsay equals 41, just like Super Bowl. Winner of Super Bowl 41. Look at all these 38 numbers up here. These are numbers of death. Prince equals 38, death 38, Minnesota 38, Chanhassen where he died 38, Colorado 38. U.S. Bank Stadium equals 38 in Minnesota. The small way. The big way, 155. Denny Green died by the numbers. Denny Green died exactly 155 days after his birthday, the night before they opened up this new stadium, where the stadium name also sums to 155. You can see my videos on the death of Denny Green. Anyhow, Prince has definite ties to the Colts. He also died in Minnesota. The thing about Minnesota and the Giants is these teams have a lot of history, historic matchups. It's why part of the reason I thought they'd be the NFC Championship. Does Prince's death, does it also connect to a Vikings Super Bowl? Or is Prince's death, Denny Green's death, a tribute to the Super Bowl that they're hosting the next season, 52? Because as we're talking about with the Giants, you know, these deaths mostly happened last year, and they seem to connect to things going well for the Giants this year. Perhaps Minnesota will become the first team to play in a Super Bowl they're hosting. That's never happened before. Denny Green died 52 days before the start of their season, which is September 11th against Tennessee. Tennessee equals 52. Prophecy 52. Denny Green dead 52 days before the opener, the night before the stadium opens that will host Super Bowl 52. Prince was 5'2". Prince said all we can go by in this world is prophecy. So anyway, I think I covered it all, Truth Seeker. A lot of information here. In my videos, remember, these are lessons. I'm teaching you guys a skill. You can always watch my How to Gematria video. I'm showing you how the patterns work over history. By taking this knowledge, by applying it, you can make your own finds. You can help me with this study. I don't have it all figured out. I have a lot of it figured out, but there's still a long way to go. That's why I'm often torn until I have enough evidence to determine who will be the team. Those of you who are saying I have to pick a team, you know, the season hasn't even started yet. The first game hasn't even been played. And I'm already narrowed it down to pretty much 3 teams that are going to be there, including the team in the AFC. You'll see people posting in all of my videos that it's going to be the Bengals. That could be the AFC Championship, Colts and Bengals. There was a mysterious story about a cop killing another cop in Indianapolis and then fleeing to Cincinnati. Indianapolis to Cincinnati by drive is exactly 112 miles. Interesting, in the year of the Houston Super Bowl, Houston equals 112.